got a chance to see Rebel Ridge on Netflix. It's a Netflix original, I believe. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, and as well as a filmmaker. And let's talk about some comics, because we got Lords of LA. This is my vampire mob set 1950s Hollywood, about a lounge singer named Lena who ends up in a love triangle with two vampires and ends up being turned to the point where she has to leave her baby behind because she's afraid she's going to hurt the baby. And 60 years later, she comes back to get her revenge on both of them. And we have issue 1 and issue 2. Issue 2 is just coming out now. I literally just got this back from the printer, and it's got some really good vampire action. It's True Blood meets The Godfather, so it's awesome stuff. If you would like a copy, I do sign them. You can just let me know in the comment section below. All right, plus, if you know this guy here, Timothy Zahn, he created Thrawn, a bunch of other things. He's an amazing writer, as well as Kevin J. Anderson, and a bunch of other sci-fi writers have connected to do an anthology on the pulp classic Green Hornet. And if you'd like a copy of those, where they are signing them, we are going to be launching it on Kickstarter, but we have a pre-launch page up right now, and you can just go down to the description below and you'll find the link to Kickstarter, and definitely jump in there and get notified about when we launch. All right, so let's talk about Rebel Ridge. I heard people talking about the movie, but I didn't know anything about it. I just kind of decided to just watch it. And it is written, directed, edited, pissed on, everything all by one guy. And everybody who knows me knows how I feel about writer, director, producer, editors, camera guy. He's everything. But his name is Jeremy Saulnier. He hasn't done much, but everything that he's done he's written and directed and probably edited. The Green Room, Blue Ruin, or something to that effect. I've heard of Green Room, but I don't think I've ever seen it. So, yeah, he hasn't done too much, but everything that he's done has been pretty much on his terms. So, he's a control freak to the nth degree. Luckily, he is halfway decent, although I gotta say that the writing is not that great. The directing, he's a better director than he is a writer. I'll give him that. I like a lot of the directing in here. Like when they were going in the underground thing to go where in the little catacombs where he was following, he didn't feel like he had to see their front. I actually like that, because I would have cut away, and instead he did it as one continuous shot of following them and having her continually touch the wall so that you could see her profile. I liked all that. I thought that was really good. Some of the fight scenes are decent. I wouldn't say they're great, but they're decent. He's better with the car chases, like the one accident they had. I thought that was really good. We see it a long shot. It isn't even a close-up, and we still feel it. So I definitely think that he's a better director than writer. The guy they got for the lead is really good. And he's one of the reasons why I decided watching it. Him and Don Johnson both. I've always been a fan of Don Johnson ever since Miami Vice. He's always been great. No matter what he does, he's really good. But this guy's name is Aaron Pierre. He played Malcolm X, and I definitely can see that. He was also in Old, which I've never seen. But he has that quiet intensity thing that Kristen Milioti has in The Penguin. And I've always been a fan of Anna Sophia Robb as well. I actually watched The Carrie Diaries just because she was in it. But she also did Bridge to Terabithia, which I thought was excellent. when she was a child, and apparently she hasn't gotten any taller, because you see Aaron Pierre height versus her height, and she doesn't have any heels on. My God, she looks like a midget. She is only 5 foot tall, so, and I think he's over 6, so he's like looking down at her like a child. It's crazy. But Don Johnson plays a good villain. He does not have a lot to work with here, so he really has to lay on the charm. That's what I'm saying. The script is not that good. In fact, if you think about what even the plot is, you're going to have trouble deciphering the plot, because it doesn't make any sense. So the plot is, and I'm not going to really go into spoilers here, but the plot is that Terry, who is Aaron Pierre's character, is literally riding a bike when he has $30,000 in his backpack in cash. Why would anybody carry around that kind of money? Not a clue. I know he just cashed out from the restaurant, but wouldn't he have a check? I understand that. Why would he not have a bank account? It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. None of it in the beginning makes any sense. So he got cash from his buyout at the restaurant, and he's going to go buy a truck. But again, why would you buy the truck in cash? It's just very confusing to me, because if somebody came to me to buy their car in cash right off the bat, I'd be a little nervous. I'd be like, drug dealer or what? You know, it's just very odd. But if it's not cash for him, the whole rest of the story doesn't happen. That's the problem. Because if you change that to make it make sense, the rest of the movie doesn't happen. And the cops pull him over by crashing into him. It was the weirdest thing. So they can't turn the light, and apparently they can't honk either. I don't know. Because when they turn their lights on, the camera goes, and they don't want that to happen. So they don't turn the lights on. But you know what? You still have a horn, buddy. And you can still hear a horn even with your headphones in. So, again, plot hole, plot hole, plot hole. So they hit him off the bike, and they semi-arrest him for evading the police, and then they find this money on them, right? But the plot is that since they've gotten in trouble with the state or something to that effect, this little county doesn't have any infusion of money to their police department. So instead, they do cash confiscations to fund a lot of things in the town. Again, it makes no sense, because how many people are riding bikes or passing through their town? They could just confiscate money. Now, if they were going after cartel people, or there's drug dealers in the next, thing where they're crossing state lines or they're crossing county lines to then bring that money back, then I can really see how this could be a mess. But it just doesn't jive. None of it jives. So anyway, Aaron's character is not really he's ex-military, but he's really a hand-to-hand combat guy, which they learn later. And because they look him up, and he's not really ex-military, he's a trainer. And Anna Sophia Robb ends up helping him, and she's a estranged mother. She can't really see her child because she was on drugs. Her husband basically took the child away from her. So there's multi-layer to that character. There's a layer or so to Terry's character, although not much. He's there to get his cousin out of jail, who is going to be arraigned, but he was in witness protection or something to that effect, which doesn't make any sense, because if that's the case where he was supposed to testify or something to that effect, he would have been the FBI or whatever was going to be going and putting that case together would immediately have intervened. But they didn't. So instead, he's killed in prison. it doesn't really, none of it really makes any sense. The plot makes zero sense. So he ends up going to war with this local police department. That's basically the plot. And then you can see what happens from there. But that's the basic plot and set up for what happens during the course of the film. It has some good moments to it. I think the acting is generally good. We know nothing about Don Johnson's character. We know nothing about any of the cops. And I think that's the basic problem, is that we know nothing about the villains. Nothing. We know nothing about their lives. We know nothing. There's no structure or anything beyond what we see in just a layer. Just the top layer is all we see to these guys, and that's it. I think a lot of that was a mistake. Again, that's my problem with writer, director, producer, editor, whatever this guy is. Because anybody would have seen that there's so many holes here. So as long as you turn your brain off at the door and just go in saying, well, I'm just going to enjoy this film for what it is, then that's fine. But literally, as soon as you turn off the thing, you're going to forget it, because there's no weight to anything here. We don't get, even towards the end, we don't get to see the completion of any of the character arcs. So that's another mistake. If this guy's waiting for, an award for his script, he definitely ain't getting it. He definitely is not getting it. Overall, it's just a fun time. And again, I thought the acting was very good. I thought the directing was very good. And Don Johnson does his normal performance. David Denman does a good job as well as one of the cops. And Aaron Pierre and Anna Sophia Robb do, equally good, if not, they're definitely the standouts. With Don Johnson just trying to prep them up because he has nothing to work with. So on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm probably going to give this, it's above average, because it's not a sucky movie. There's just no meat to it. So probably a 6.5 is what I'm going to give it, which is my normal thing for something that I just think is a little bit above average. All right, well, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think. Did you guys see it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you find the holes in there, or is it just me? Am I being too critical on this very average script? But he got the money for it, so that's all that matters. He got the money to make it. That's all that matters. All right, well, give me a thumbs up if you can. Give me a like on the video. It always helps. And if you can subscribe, please do. It's free. Why not ring that bell? Ding, ding. Check out some other videos as well. And if you want to get involved in the Green Hornet anthology by some great writers, click the description below. It'll take you back to the Kickstarter. All right. I'll see you on the next one. And thanks for watching, guys.